let's have a chat because this is really interesting. I am concerned at the moment with the changes to Newshub and 3 News that we are dramatically seeing a drop-off in access to news. Dramatically seeing a drop-off.
Like instantly.
Yeah, and dramatically. So we thought, 3 News is there and these this and this is that and there and that. This is fine. They'll replace. I'll show you, right, exactly what's happening. And there is a dramatic drop-off to access to news. I'll show you how. Let's first have a look at the thing that I'm being gentle because I don't want to be like a naysayer, but I'm always someone I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver. And I do have concerns for of course 3 News debuted strong because tons of people went, this is the first time in 40 years something's different. Let's have a look. So let's read the story and maybe give credit where it's due. This is from the weekend. 3 News posted a strong opening weekend with ratings for both Saturday and Sunday show up from those previous bulletins in the same slot. Of course you were. It was a brand new item and people wanted to know how this thing in first in 4 decades was going to function. Overnight, ratings from audience measurements tool Nielsen showed 340,000 people in the 5+ audience tuned in to watch the inaugural half hour, a whopping 89% more than Newshub Saturday night outing a week prior, and 32% increase on the same weekend last year. That's interesting in itself, isn't it? Look how much it's dropped off over 12 months. That's not the storyline, is it? The storyline isn't how much it's dropped off over 12 months. It's that we did good on the first night. It got a 19.3 in the target commercial 25-54 demographic, 3.5% up. The result was even more impressive, they say, right? Julian Peterson said, because they're up against the Warriors game and some other bits and bobs as well. 3 News is produced by Stuffed. Warner Brothers Discovery replaces 3 News Newshub. It shut on Friday, etc., etc., etc. So look, fine. Maybe we did this. When we hit number 1 in the charts, we put it up and go, yay, we're number 1. And we ignore the other 93 days where we're number 3 through 15 sort of thing. So I get it. But in television in particular, and I mentioned spin-off TV earlier, they got given 800K or something for 20 episodes or whatever from New Zealand on air. And they started off after 7 days and it rated really well. And by the end of it, to be honest, Chewy, by the end of it, they were getting fewer viewers to their show than we get pretty much on each episode of this, which says something, because we're shithouse. So I would be more like about it's a good start, but we all know that there's lots of people checking us out. Come and talk to us in 6 months now. We'll see how we're going from here. So here's the concerning thing. We access, if you've followed us for very long, a lot of our news on YouTube, as does a certain demographic of the country, right? All on Newshub. Obviously, on YouTube. Newshub shut down last week, so there hasn't been anything for 4 days. But if you look at TVNZ's YouTube channel, they haven't had anything up for a week. They haven't had anything up for a week.
Wow. And
they were putting them up because watching the show, we get clips from them. And I'm not just doing this because they're making my life harder. You are, but that's not the main reason. Look, clips from everything, from breakfast, from, breakfast there, from the news, there's a 7 Sharp, and they put them up. And now that there's no Newshub doing it, there's no 1 News doing it. Not only that, maybe it's changed now. Let's go have a look live, shall we? But that video that I played earlier of Darlene Tunner was not yet on the 1 News website. Like, let's put Darlene, I could be proven wrong here, but let's put Darlene Tunner in here. DarlenTana and go enter. There you go, newest. So that story that we played tonight from 1 News is still not on the 1 News website. It's still not there. That's a massive story in New Zealand. It's still not on the 1 News website. Now, what's happened is there's been a dramatic drop-off. And I'm not saying news, it's still 1 News is still there, 3 News, New 3 News is producing stuff, but the access to it in the space of a week has dropped off a cliff. I don't watch television, really. I watch heaps of YouTube. I get almost all my news from YouTube. New Zealand news has dropped off the YouTube platform. Other than us, of course. We're here. Hi. But mainstream media news has dropped off the YouTube platform. And I get it, right? Because what they're going to be doing is they're going to be saying, we want people to come to One News, the website, .co.nz, because then they see our banners, they see our advertising, it's better. Yeah, okay, cool, fine. Darlene Tanner's story is still not there. That video is still not there. I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but I'm quite good mates with Petra Baggist. Done a lot of radio with her, done some bits and pieces with her. And I remember having a couple of ideas for television. And Petra responded to me by saying, but what does it look like? What are the images? You can't just, the big thing about television is you got to have moving pictures. It's television. That's the difference. Now, they've got a website with no moving pictures about one of the biggest news stories of the day, which is the Darlene Tanner one. It's not there. There's no moving pictures on this television's website that's supplying news to the country. It's almost like they're going, this whole digital thing? Nah, you're just going to tune into 6 o'clock. We're going to go back to the 60s. It's a very strange situation. Now, 3 News, stuff.co.nz, they're allowed to do whatever they want. They're not a part of this, but they are actively driving people to their website, obviously, because they want clicks through there and they want banners to be seen there and that kind of stuff as well. But what it means is you haven't got YouTube is generally a hub, right? For information. There is no New Zealand news, mainstream news hub on YouTube anymore. And it's happened since Newshub disappeared, and One News has stopped doing it since Newshub disappeared. Thoughts, Chewy?
Yeah, it was very, very obvious that the foot has come off the gas because they don't have a functional opposition to the same level that they did. It is worrying. Again, it's the downstream effects of this, and this is why I was so pissed off with Melissa Lee just completely not getting the seismic shift that was coming in our news organizations and how news is going to be disseminated out to the population. I think she was just rubbing her hands going, cool, less people to worry about. Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know what TVNZ are doing. They could be filling the vacuum, but they don't seem to be.
Just because I like to be fair, I can see someone in the chat saying 3 News is on YouTube. 3 News, Newshub comes up. Like, happily show it. I mean, because I want to know where it is. So, where's 3 News? I mean, have I done it wrong? That's what their name is, right? 3 News. And and I'm not pulling back on that. Even if it is up there, there's no question that there is a question. My accusation is TVNZ has seen that they don't need to provide to YouTube anymore because Newshub's gone and no one's providing to YouTube anymore, or at least not like they were. So they've just stopped doing it because they want people to go to their website. I'll look up stuff. Maybe it's in there under stuff. Okay, so there's stuff. I mean, there's some videos there for sure. Oh, yeah, there's some there on the stuff one. Okay. Okay, well, that's terrible branding, by the way, stuff. You're calling it 3 News. Yeah, okay. Stand corrected. Maybe that's why they've only got 37 views on one of the biggest news stories of the day.
Yeah, it is weird. You'd usually jump on making sure the search algorithm is going to deliver people that are going to be looking for it, and they haven't. They've missed that trick.
Can I just add one more thing, right? Because I was going to talk about this, and I can see, look, I'm on their page now, so I'll show you where it is. This story here was an exclusive for stuff. So it's not that they're not doing good news. This is a terrible story. Have you heard this story, Chewy? This is the guy who got one punched in Christchurch. I read this in the Herald.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know the full story, there was some douchebag of a father that wanted to teach his 7-year-old son a lesson because he wouldn't get off the swings and slides when he wanted him to go home. So what did the douchebag father do? He left to teach his son a lesson. The son then freaked out, crying, panicked. This lovely gentleman, grandfather, 60-year-old visitor from India, helped the boy out. And when the father eventually came back after he had taught his son a lesson, this gentleman was holding the boy's hand because he was crying, looking for his dad. The father got all grumpy and angry and took his son and this is the worst part, and drove off, had a chat with the missus at home, and then came back to the park, found this guy, punched him in the face. He fell over, hit his head, died. Now, I get that we don't have murder 1, 2, 3 in New Zealand, and that murder has to have an intention behind it, but this feels way worse than manslaughter, Chewy. To give 3 News their credit, first of all, even with their Zoom background there, they're doing good work. They're doing good work without question. But I did want to use this as a chance to also talk about this story. That feels way worse than a manslaughter. You think manslaughter is accidental. Yeah, okay, he might not have meant to kill him, but the action of leaving the scene and then coming back and attacking the guy and then leaving the scene again. Whatever the most serious situation for manslaughter is, this breaches that bar in my ill-informed opinion.
Yes, we're not Judge Pat and Chewy just yet.
No.
As far as the stories that they're doing as well, like Samantha Hayes did an amazing story about the gang patches in Black Power, which is an incredible piece of reporting on a story, and that's the thing. They're doing worthy work. It's just it's very new, and nobody's worked out what the hell's going on. So I should be able to type in 3 News and it take us straight to it.
So that's
and
what
TVNZ should be continuing to upload content at the same rate that they were doing before 3 News went down.
That's probably look, fair cop. I said they weren't there, and they are. I guess that their algorithm's not working very well because, like I said, that clip about that man's had 128 views. It should have had several thousand by now. But TVNZ it is my honest held belief, my humble conjecture, that TVNZ, as you said, Chewy, has taken the foot off the accelerator because Newshub's gone. Because we want access to news, it seems that they want us to come to their website. 2 different things. Anywho, anything else? Do you want to actually got any thoughts around the case as well? It's just like, holy crap.
Oh, look, I think it's like the dude went home and came back. It's premeditated. His missus called the police on it. He went to a friend's house and said what he'd done. Like it's reprehensible. Like shit dadding to start with, and then a massive overreaction after that. Yeah. Massive. But just like, fuck's sake. People need to fucking chill out.